Here's a bit of a challenging question from a student. How do you keep everyone on the Scrum team, particularly the product owner and the developers, together on the same page? And here's a crucial phrase. I'm curious to see where we're going to take this, guys. How do you keep them both understanding reality?
Understanding reality.
Reality. Wow,
Very
as opposed to virtual
existential.
reality, physical reality. I'm going to make some assumptions here to kind of create a foundation for this response, but likely this is coming from a Scrum Master who's just now getting into the mix saying, what do I do? I've got two parties. They're very different. Developers have their own way of thinking, their own reality. Product owners probably have their own. And then they converge, and maybe they're not on the same page. Maybe there's some inherent conflicts. How do we get them to align? So I'm going to use that word as sort of my benchmark for where we drive. I think first off, there may be an inherent misunderstanding as to the collaboration opportunity between both accountabilities. So you have developers whose accountability is done work, which means that quality standard is absolutely mandatory for their work. And you have product owners who their accountability is to maximize value. So straight out of the Scrum Guide, these two have to interface together to ensure that there's something done, something that will give us the potential for feedback at least once every single sprint. So this means ongoing activities like continuous refinement, and that happens on an ongoing basis, probably at least once, maybe twice a week. These two groups of people, plus maybe others, are interfacing with the future of the work, so that way they are on the same page. And here's the thing for product owners. If you're not bringing a goal to the table, like a product goal and a potential for a future sprint goal, you're probably going to have a lot of disjointed conversations about stuff and getting into the weeds. So I would start with understanding your accountability. You have to interface. Refinement is how you do that. And product owners, bring a goal to the table. Give us some focus.
Yeah, this idea of keeping everybody on the same page about reality. I mean, my head kind of goes to this friction you often see on a team where the product owner is trying to squeeze more value and get more stuff to their constituents or customers or stakeholders. And the developers, while they want to do that, they're also concerned with the quality and the quality sacrifices they have to make if they're being put under some sort of pressure that they feel is unrealistic. So there should be realistic pressure to solve problems within a confined time space, within a sprint, but also maintaining a level of quality such that you're not borrowing from next sprint to pay this sprint off. Meaning, I got to deal with 50,000 bugs in sprint 4 because in sprint 1 I made a lot of horrible mistakes and pushed some garbage out the door. So we have a definition of done to preserve quality. The product owner and the developers really need to understand and work together to craft that if it's not already handed down from the organization. So that's one way they can get in touch with reality is through the definition of done. But like I agree with Greg with product backlog refinement and doing this together throughout the sprint for future work.
I agree with both of you on those fronts. I'm gonna take a slightly different spin on this because when I read how do I get them to understand reality, my mind goes to there's something going on here that isn't realistic, right? Somebody's not being realistic, either the developers, the product owner, or whomever. And this might sound a little cliche or trite, but I really believe it. When in doubt, I go back to transparency. When there are unrealistic demands being made of me as an individual, as a part of a team, I try to make what's going on as transparent as possible. I've said before, I've been in a situation where somebody's screaming at me to try to fit 20 pounds into a 10-pound bag. Like, that's not reality. And I can show you 6 different ways why that's not working. And so at that point, I let the data do the arguing for me. I don't have to sit there and argue with you about my opinion. I can just say, okay, look, here's what's going on. Here's what we've removed. Here's what we've done. Here are the options that we have on the table. Here's what we can do. And here's what's not going to work. And just make it as transparent as possible. The more you can make the constraints of reality transparent, the less it becomes a shouting match about opinions. And the more it's just we're all looking at the same thing and we can inspect and adapt together. Hey, thanks for watching that video. Did you like what you heard? If so, you're going to love our Scrum classes. See, not only do we talk about these ideas on YouTube, we're also professional Scrum trainers, and we'd love to have you in one of our classes. So if you need to level up as a Scrum Master or a product owner, maybe you need to learn how to scale Scrum or combine Kanban or UX with Scrum, Click the link in our description and you'll find a list of our upcoming classes.
If this is your first time to our channel and you're interested in growing in your agility and understanding things like Scrum and other Agile topics, then be sure to get started by subscribing right now and hit that alert button. I don't want you to miss the thing.